everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on verbs. So, we'll be doing our grade 8 lesson on verbs. And before we start with our lesson, we are going to log into aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca, username as well as your password. And then you're going to select the subject of language arts and then grade 8. And once you've selected the subject of language arts, grade 8, and then you're going to scroll down up until you get to the chapter of verbs. And there is quite a few lessons under the chapter of verbs, but we're only going to focus on a few of those lessons. All right, so our chapter is verbs. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of verbs we're going to start with irregular past tense verbs. And then we're also going to do simple past, present, and future tense. And then we're also going to focus on the the progressive verb tenses. So that is going to be the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of verbs, which is irregular past tense, simple past, present, and future tense, and to form the progressive verb tenses. All right. So verbs, right? So a verb is a doing word, right? It's an action. And we have verbs that is in the present or that basically shows the different tenses, which can either be in the present, which can be in the past, or it can even show in the future. So we're going to basically find that out during the course of our lessons. All right, so we have regular verbs And then we also have irregular verbs. So regular verbs, right? Regular verbs, it basically follow rules like maybe ending in D or it ending in ed, right? This is now when we basically show our different tenses. So it's, for example, if we say the girl play the girl plays soccer or the children play soccer. So the word play, it basically shows the tense in the present tense, which is play. If we want to show the tense in the past tense, this is now regular, then we add an ed to the word play, and then it becomes played to show now the tense has changed to a past tense. Or if we want to show in the future, and then we just add the word will play, will be played, depending if it's an ongoing verb. So when it comes to verbs, sorry, sorry. So when it comes to our chapter verbs, right, we see that the first lesson is verbs, and when it comes to irregular past tense verbs, then it does not follow any rules. It doesn't follow any rules. You're just basically going to have to know the verb or its tense. But there's no rules that we follow. We can't say that you need to add an ed. We can't say that you need to add a d. We can't say that you need to add whichever thing or word in order to show the tense. When it comes to irregular past tense verb, it's like the word changes, right? Or the wording changes, or a few letters within that word changes. And it basically it's as if the whole word has, but the meaning basically it just shows the tense, the specific tense. Whereas with regular verbs, we either just add d or we add an ed to show the past tense of the verb, but not with irregular past tense. You will just have to know the meaning or know the word. All right, so we say that most verbs are regular in the past tense. So most verbs, yes, it is regular in the past tense. And this means that you follow a rule like where we add an ed or we add a d, like we mentioned earlier on. And that is in order to get the past tense form of that verb. However, we also have some of the verbs that are irregular within the past tense. And when it comes to the irregular verbs, this means that you don't have to follow a specific rule. Like you don't have to follow a specific rule. Instead, you must just remember the past tense form of that specific verb. So remember, we do not follow a rule where we say that we need to add an ed, we need to add a d. No, you're going to have to just remember the past tense form of that verb. So if we look at the meaning, it says Louis or Louise did his homework. So the word did is our verb, right? Did is our verb. And if we look at that word did, right? Did is the irregular past tense form of the word do. So do is a verb. And our past tense of that verb is did. It's like I do something now, and in the past, I did something. So I do my homework now. In the past tense, I did my homework. All right. If we look at our activity, right, it says you need to complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense. All right. So excited at the prospect of a boat ride around the bay, Gwen sling her canvas bag onto the deck and scrambled aboard. So the word sling, we need to change that word to the past tense form. Irregular verb. So excited at the prospect of a boat ride around the bay, Gwen sling her canvas bag onto the deck and scrambled aboard. So we need to change the word sling and write it in the past tense. So we need to write sling in the past tense. All right, and if we select the past tense verb, we complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense, then we would say it is slung, right? So Gwen, she slung her bag onto the deck. So sling is in the present tense, which is now, but slung is in the past tense, which means that the word that changed over there was the I turned into a U within that word sling. So sling is in the present tense and slung is in the past tense. We need to complete the sentence within we need to complete the verb within the past tense. After the American colonies declared their independence, 55 men undertake the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. So undertake, we need to change that specific word into the past tense form. So after the American colonies declared their independence, 55 men undertake their the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. So we need to complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense. And if we change that word, we complete that word, undertake, with the verb in the past tense, then in the past, we can say they undertook. You undertake now, right? Undertook the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. So undertook is the irregular past tense verb. So undertook, right? And that is our verb in the past tense. Although the candidate's campaign would be costly and his odds of winning seemed slim, he seek reflection nonetheless. Seek. What is the past tense form of the word seek? You seek something. So we need to find the past tense of that word, seek. And if we look at the past tense, we we complete the sentence with the past tense form, we can say to sought. So seek is in the present tense, sought is in the past tense. And basically, based on the three examples of the activities that we did, right? When it comes to undertake, undertook, seek, sought, right? Sling, slung, right? These are words it's basically irregular past tense verbs, right? And as you've noticed, there is no rule that you need to follow. You're just going to have to either know what the specific verb is. All right, now it is. So we need to complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense. It took determination and hard work, but Cole finally repaid his debt and started saving money for a house. So repay. What is the past tense or the verb in the past tense of repay? Is it repaid, to repay, or repaids? So the past tense of repay, is it repaid, to repay, or repaids? All right, and if we choose the verb in the past tense of repay, right? To pay something now, we paid it, which means that if we repay something, we repaid it. Repaid. And the first option is correct. Repaid. No rule that we followed at all. Who bring this delicious coconut cake? Who bring this delicious coconut cake? Is it who brought, who to bring, or who brought this delicious coconut cake? So brought, to bring, or brought this delicious coconut cake. So we need to complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense. All right, so if we select the verb in the past tense, then yes, we will say brought is correct. Because who brought this delicious coconut cake? Brought is the past tense of bring. So well done, brought is correct. After the American colonies declared their independence, 50 men undertake this difficult task of writing our country's constitution. So, undertake. What is the past tense or the verb in the past tense of undertake? Is it undertook, to undertake, or undertooks? So, after the American colonies declared their independence, 55 men undertake the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. Is it undertook, to undertake, or undertooks? All right, and if we select the verb in the past tense, then we will say it's undertook. So 50 men undertook the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. So undertook is correct. Well done. When the actor fling his at the floodlights and stomped off the stage, he was merely staying in character. So when the actor fling his script at the floodlights and stomped off the stage, he was nearly staying in character. So fling, we need to find the verb in the past tense. Is it flung, to fling, or flungs? So flung, to fling, or flungs, which is the past tense verb of fling. And if we look at the verb in the past tense, then we will say flung, because the past tense verb of, or the word of fling is flung. So well done. Flung is correct. So well done. Let's do one more. As additional housing development went in, the locust heron population shrink even further. So an additional housing development went in, the local heron population shrink even further. Is it shrank, to shrink, or shranks? And if we look at our, if we choose the correct one, we will say shrank. Shrank. And that is our verb in the past tense. Shrank. So now we have simple past, present, and future tense. All right, so basically when it comes to present tense, right? Present tense is straightforward. It's something that is doing, that someone is doing now. So in the present tense, right, it basically shows things that is happening now. In the past tense, it shows things that happened already or had happened, and that's in the past. And then in the future tense, right? The future tense verb, it tells you about something that is going to happen, right? It did not happen yet. It's not happening now, but it's going to happen. So future tense verbs, it tells you about something that is going to happen, right? It did not happen yet. It's not happening now. It's going to happen. And will, so we basically just add will to form the future tense of all verbs. So we add will. So we see that future tense verbs, it tells you about something that is going to happen, and we just add will to form the future tense of all the verbs. If we look at an example of the future tense, right? It says Tanya will speak at the conference, right? Which means that will shows the future tense. So they will speak at the conference. Conference. So now we're going to look at a little activity, right? Where we're going to complete the sentence with the future tense form of the verb. Next week, Tammy attend a conference on small business management in Greenville. And if we look at the word specifically, attend. If we look at the word attend, then we're going to add will in front of that word. So basically, we can say next week, Tammy will attend a conference on small business management in Greenville. So will. And will shows something that must still happen in the future, or something that will happen in the future. So next week, Tammy will attend a conference on small business management in Greenville. The next time Halley's comet approach Earth is in 2061. So the next time Halley's comet approach Earth is in 2061. So will, if we add the word will in front of the word approach, then that will show our future form, our future tense form of the verb. Because that will be will approach. The next time Halley's comet will approach Earth is in 2061. And now in 2013, a team of researchers developed a fiber optic cable that can transfer data at a rate that approach the speed of light. So in 2013, a team of researchers developed a fiber optic cable that can transfer data at a rate that approaches the speed of light. And we're going to change this word. We're going to add something in front of the word approach. Oh, and this is saying the present tense. So the present tense. So now we need to give the present tense form of this verb. The present tense. It's happening now. So which means that a team of researchers developed a fiber optic cable that can transfer data at a rate that approaches because approaches is now. The speed of light. Approaches is in the present tense. So approaches shows the present tense form. So now we need to complete the sentence with a future tense form of the verb. Future tense. Next week, Tammy attend a conference on small business management in Greenville. So attend, that is the word that we are either going to change, add something on to show the tense. And in this case, we need to show the future tense form of the verb. So next week, Tammy, if we write it in the future tense, we will say next week, Tammy will attend. Yes, well done. So will attend. It's the first one, not will attends or not attended. So will attend a conference on small business management in Greenville. And did you know that a water molecule consists of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom? So we need to now complete the sentence with the present tense form of the verb. Present tense. Something that is happening now. So did you know that a water molecule, do we say consists, consisted, or will consist? So we need to complete the sentence with the present tense form. So do we say consists, consisted, or will consist? And yes, well done. We'll say consists of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So consists is, we basically just added an S. So we need to now complete the sentence with the future tense form of the verb, future. Researchers estimate that up to 90% of the world's languages become extinct by the end of the 21st century. So do we say become, will become, or becoming? This is now in the future tense. And yes, we see that in the future, we are writing in the future tense, then we always add will in front of it. So it's going to be researchers estimate that up to 90% of the world's languages will become extinct by the end of the 21st century. Yes, will become is correct. So well done. Will become is correct. And we need to complete the sentence with the future tense form of the verb. Future tense, once again. The next time Halley's Comet approach Earth is in 2061. So the next time Halley's Comet approach Earth is in 2061. So do we say approached or will approach? And this is now the future tense. So approach or will approach. The future tense. All right, so we will say will approach. And that shows the future tense form of that verb, because future tense meaning it will still happen. Will, we add will in front of it. So well done. Will approach is correct. In the United States, the average child watched television for nearly 15,000, or let's say 1,500 minutes, each week. So we need to write this in the present tense. The present tense, is it watches or watched? So watches or watched. So we need to write that in the present tense. Watches or watched. And if we choose the present tense form of that verb, we will say it is watches. Because it shows something that it's doing now, right? And it's watches. So watches television for nearly 1,500 minutes each week. So we need to complete the sentence. This is not the last one, where we need to complete the sentence with the present tense form of the verb. In 2013, a team of researchers developed a fiber optic cable that can transfer data at a rate than approach the speed of light. So now, the present tense form of the verb, is it approaches or will approach? So we need to write it in the present tense form. So is it approaches or will approach? The present tense. Remember, we're in the present tense. Something that is happening now, is it approaches or will approach? The present tense form. Present is now. So once again, in 2013, a team of researchers developed a fiber optic cable that can transfer data at a rate that approach the speed of light. Says approaches or will approach. All right, and if we choose the present tense form of the verb, which is approach, we're going to find the present tense form of the verb. And if we choose the present tense form, then we can say it approaches. Because remember, will approach shows the future tense. So approaches. Right? All right. All right, so when it comes to our verbs, right, we see that our verbs can either be irregular or it can be regular, right? We say that with the regular verbs, we basically follow rules like either adding a D or adding an ED in order to show the tense, either to show that it is in the past or to show that it is in the present tense, right? However, when it comes to the irregular past tense verb, right, then there's no rule that you need to follow. You just basically have to know the meaning thereof. Not even the meaning, you need to know which specific word to basically choose. Then we have simple past, present, and future tense, right? Usually, when it comes to the simple past tense, we mostly just add an es, right? Then we have the past tense. And with the past tense, we either said that, the wording changes, right? Because you need to just know it. But when it comes to the irregular past tense, and there's no rules that you need to follow. And then we have the future tense. And with the future tense form, right, we just add will in front of our verb, right? Will approach, will something, right? Will become, will watch. So, in order to show the future tense of that specific sentence or word, and these are verbs, right? So for now, we only did irregular past tense and we did simple past, present, and future tense, right? And remember, verbs are doing words, and we said verbs can either be irregular or regular. It can either be in the simple past, simple present, or simple future tense. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on verbs. Thank you very much for joining our class. Thank you very much for interacting, right? And until next time, you should have a good day further. Goodbye.